Hello everyone! Today sitting next to me is Lux, who is the manager of a very big and known Discord server, JUS MUGEN HUB. First off, why did you create the JUS HUB?
Okay, so correction. Not manager, technically the creator, but Ralph kind of owns it now, but I created it because, well, a lot of the moderators in the JOS hub, Jofu, Ralph, Darkblood, we were all mods in Sala's server. And one day we got kicked out. I've actually left this story in one of Leon's comment sections, but D2TD was a mod in Sala's server, and he managed to convince Sala to ban all of us, and then D2TD basically took over the server because Sala disappeared. So we decided we're gonna make our own server, and we made the JUS HUB, and we got a bunch of creators like Revelio and Knightmare. All of them are in there, and basically just made our own little community hub.
Alright, and what was your experience with D2TD and Ghost Carti and Docs?
Well, I'm going to split this up into 3 different chapters. D2TD was, well, at least when I joined the community, he was always around. He was one of the first people in Sala's server with Jofu and Kahim, which is another community member. D2TD didn't really talk that much, but when he did, he did his own thing. And for a while in that server, he didn't really consult any other moderators for his decisions. He would randomly ban people that just didn't agree with him, and we were just like, yo, that's not cool, stop that. And eventually D2TD disappeared and wouldn't really talk to us. He was still in the server, but he wasn't really involved until later on. I don't really have much on him, personally. I didn't really talk to him that much, except we know now he was definitely off doing his own things. As for Ghost, well, I first discovered Ghost when he released the edit of all JUS. It's a character called Ghost. It's basically a big reskin, recolor. I was like, okay, cool. Let the guy do what he wants. But he eventually joined the JUS hub. I'm not trying to defend him, but at the same time, he did not get a very good welcome when he joined. A lot of people kind of knew him as like, oh, this is the guy that stole all JUS. So this is the guy who does recolors. You know, shit like that. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, hey, maybe we should take it easy. You know, give him, like, a nice welcome instead of hostility. And eventually, Ghost left because people were kind of making him mad. Then he ended up getting in cahoots with D2, and now they're off doing their own thing. As for Docs, well, a lot of people in the community will know, or at least in the JUS Hub, will know that I was one of the most outspoken people against Docs. I really hated how he sold characters. For a while, a lot of those characters had stolen code. In more recent weeks and months, a lot of community members like Revelio and Ralph have basically figured out Docs is actually a very reasonable and polite individual. Sure, I don't agree with how he sells characters, but I can say it's not as bad as it was before, because as of now, he is working on his own original code, and he's trying to do better. Docs is not nearly as toxic and hostile as Ghost and D2 are. Docs can be reasonable. Docs can talk to all of us, and he has no issues with it.
Do you think about the situation which happened with planeptune and Knightmare and the leaked characters, do you think it's planeptune's and Knightmare's fault for D2TD getting his hands on the characters?
Oh no. Well, yes and no. For one, they are kind of at fault for doing business with somebody like D2, because I might be wrong, but it is my understanding that both of those characters were commissions from D2, and Neptune and Knightmare were simply making the characters, but D2 decided to take them and release them against their deal. So, no, I don't think they're at fault, but at the same time, they shouldn't have been dealing with somebody like that.
And do you think they should have been more responsible, or was it out of their control?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of out of their control. I mean, you post a link and say, yeah, here's your character, don't release it yet because we want to release it in our own videos. But it's like, okay, I'm going to release it on my channel. They shouldn't have trusted them, but it was kind of out of their control. You can't control free will.
What do you think is the right thing to do for D2TD and Ghost Carti to do as of now? So obviously they've been called out.
I see.
What do you think they should do?
At this point, it's not really a matter of what I think they should do. Sure, they can improve their behavior. They can just be better people overall, but as unrealistic as that is, I don't exactly expect them to. And frankly, I'm so kind of disconnected and away from them that I don't really care what the next thing they do is.
How do you think that we, the JUS community, should fight against them? Do we ignore them and not give them any attention, or do we call them out?
I can see both sides of that. I guess one way we could fight against them is, as you asked, don't fight against them. Just let them do their own thing. I mean, there's not really any point. I mean, they're not going to change what they do. They're going to keep trying to leech. I mean, they're just going to do their own thing. There's nothing we can really do about it. I mean, we can be in their servers, but anyone who even tries to be in both the JUS HUB and one of their servers, they get banned just for having the mutual server.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's best to just not give them any attention and let them do their own thing. Now, if they decide to make moves and, do something that somehow relates to us, or if they decide to do something shitty again, like the Thor character was theirs when it wasn't, then yeah, I think we should do something about it. But until they do something like that, I think we should just ignore them.
Well, that's actually what did happen. I mean, with Thor, for example.
Yeah, we ignored them. Now, granted, there were multiple occasions where we just weren't being good people. A lot of the situations that were shown in your screenshots from the Ghost video and the Deke video.
Yeah, those were a few examples, but obviously there's way more examples to be shown.
Yeah, sure. There's other examples, but it's a matter of having proof or not.
And is there anything more you want to add on the subject of D2TD or Ghost Carti?
Not really. I mean, they're just community. See, part of me can sympathize with them because, if you're part of a community like this full of these creators and great people who do things, then you want to be part of that. You want to make your own characters and you want to be known. Problem is, it's people like them who want to cut corners and not make things on their own and not learn how to do things on their own. And it gets worse by the fact that they take pride in their half-assed work and decide to think they're God's gift. They're not. I understand wanting to try, I understand wanting to be big, but you have to put in the effort.
You're right. Thank you very much for giving your perspective. Also, obviously, if anyone wants to join the JUS HUB community, the link will be down in the description. Thank you very, very much for your time, Lux, and providing everyone the answers they wanted to hear.